Hello, I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of the Charles Kovess Show, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Rumble, or listening on a podcast. In today's episode, my big idea is to go more deeply into steps to create the spiritual elements in your team, because that's what makes a great team. There are 5 key elements that great teams have: trust, caring, truth, acceptance, passion. It's easy to say these words, but hard to implement. But the rewards, the results are great, are world class. I discuss in this episode what leaders need to do to unleash these 5 elements. Even if you're not a leader of your team, there are valuable insights here for you. Enjoy this episode. It will be useful for you, for your life in so many ways, in so many interactions that you have with people in teams and out of teams. Our format for the show is in 4 parts. Firstly, I discuss the big idea. Secondly, I share 6 resources with you to help implement the big idea. Thirdly, I review the week, happenings in our lives, perhaps major happenings on the planet, and then the foundational principles of the show and more details about my background are now at the end of the show, where newer viewers and listeners can find out a bit more about me. Regular viewers and listeners know that stuff, so that's why we've put it at the end of the show. So, let's go with today's big idea. This show follows on from last week's episode on the magic that is created in great teams. The magic happens at the spiritual level, and 5 key spiritual elements need to be unleashed, need to be harnessed, need to be understood. The first is trust. Team members need to trust each other. The second element is caring. Team members need to care about each other as human beings, as men, as women, not only if they're doing a great job. The team members in each team are valuable just because they're alive. And what happens in many teams is people stop caring about team members because they're less than perfect. Well, think about that. Are you perfect? Caring about team members regardless of their performance. The third element is truth. To what extent are team members able to speak the truth to the whole team, to speak the truth to the leaders, to speak the truth to each other, to share the truth about what they're upset about? Because team dynamics, like a husband and a wife, can impact when people are upset about something, but they're not willing to speak the truth of what it is that upsets them. Many leaders in teams that I've helped to build, and by the way, these ideas I'm sharing with you, I have implemented these in teams for many decades. They work. Now, many leaders say, speak the truth. We want to know the truth. And then people who speak up are then labelled as troublemakers and are thrown out of the company. So, leaders, if you want the truth, don't punish people for speaking their truth. And one of the truths that I have is that I love coffee. The 4th spiritual element, so we've had trust, we've had caring, we've had truth. The 4th is acceptance. So team members need to be willing to accept that their teammates are weirdos. They need to accept that their team members, their colleagues, won't see things the same way. They'll have different opinions, different beliefs, different views, different philosophies. So if you don't accept people having their own views, if you think that anybody who disagrees with you is wrong, you're going to have real trouble accepting your team members to unleash this spiritual connection, which is where the magic lies. The fifth element is passion. Leaders need to unleash the passion of their team members for the role that they're playing in the team. If there's no passion, and passion is a spiritual resource, if there's no passion, there is no way the team can be great. And if most team members don't have passion, bang, you're a very average team. By the way, most teams have little passion. In Australia, in the countries that I've had these surveys, 80% of people say less than 10% of people impress them as being passionate about their work. So as a leader, your job is to unleash that passion for the work. So the core strategy, the core process for unleashing these 5 elements is to be really clear what the team's purpose is, what its vision is, and what its goals are. Purpose, vision, and goals. The job of the leader and perhaps the team is to deeply articulate. Now, another word for purpose is meaning. Why has this group of human beings come together? Be it in a dental practice, be it in a legal practice, an accounting practice, a manufacturing business. What is the purpose of this enterprise? And if the leader says it's only about making money, there will be no spirituality unleashed. There will be no great team that's created. But when team members are really clear about what the game is that's being played, then you have the foundation for unleashing trust, caring, truth, acceptance, and passion. It is necessary for the leaders to repeat these 3 concepts, for every team member to learn them. And the vision statement needs to be less than 10 words. What is the vision of where this team is going? If it's too complicated, it won't engage team members. Trust is built like a brick wall, one brick at a time. And so leaders who say we're going to run the team in a particular way, following the purpose, the vision, and the goals, and then the leaders don't stick to those statements, they don't stick to the principles, that kills trust. And if there's little trust, then there won't be much truth spoken. Leaders must be consistent in saying these are the principles that apply, and then apply them. Trust, build it. And many companies make big mistakes. They kill the trust. There's only one way forward, and that is to rebuild the trust. Make new promises. It's like relationships where you've been cheated, and then you say, right, well, I want to rebuild this relationship. You start down that process. Caring comes about through openness about who we are. Again, the leader's job is to create a consistent space so that team members start to open up about who they truly are, because it's really hard to care for somebody who you don't know at all. You're working with them day by day. They've just become functions, literally like robots. Now, if you want a deeper connection, create the opportunity where people can share their difficulties, share their challenges, share their journey, share their story of how they got into the particular industry in which they are in. Truth comes out if it's safe to speak the truth. And so the leader's job is to make sure that anyone who gets punished so that no one gets punished for speaking the truth. And the truth, it's never 100% of the truth, but the more truth that comes out, then the leader can properly address the issues that are getting in the way of greatness, that are properly impacting on the relationship between team members. Acceptance comes about when, and much more readily, when team members are clear about the purpose, vision, and goals. They've started to trust each other and the leader. They've started to care about each other. And then the leader says, hey, look, we know person A, B, and C, they all think differently, but they all bring different elements to the team. And so we don't get upset. We learn not to be upset about different points of view about different issues. At the end of the day, a decision has to be made. I'm not interested. I reject the idea that everybody should be satisfied. No, there is ideas that the weirdos bring to the table. We accept the ideas and we love weirdos. And then at the end of the day, we say, no, this is the road that we're taking. And then the acceptance also comes from the person who put up a contrary view. Okay, that's the way that we're going. And not begrudge the decision that has been made by the leader, often by the whole team, to go down a different path. And then the fifth element of passion is that the leader needs to link the greatness of the team and the benefits the team members will get for their own lives. You see, you're not going to be passionate. Team members are not going to be passionate about team outcomes if it's not linked to what they want in their own lives, for how it's going to nurture and support what they're passionate about in their own lives. The leader has to make that link. Come on this journey, because your passion will be supported through the success that we as a group have. Make that link. The way to make all this happen is to set up systems and processes to implement these principles that I've shared with you. This is what I do when I do team building programs. I come into a team and we do 1, 2, 3 days. I've done team building programs over 6 months, and it becomes systematic, becomes a process so that the leader knows what needs to be done to create trust and caring and truth and acceptance and passion. When you want help to do this in any of your teams, get in touch. I would be delighted to talk about it with you. Now, 6 resources to help you put this big idea in place. Firstly, the song. And I was thinking, what song gets around this space shares this quality of relationship between team members, a deeply spiritual one. And the song that came to me was Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water. Beautiful lyrics. And think about, when you look at those lyrics, you know, when you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. When times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water. Think of yourself with your teammates as a bridge over troubled water. Listen to that song and picture your team colleagues and the way that you can help them when they're having tough times. And why would you do that? Because you care about them. Because they matter as human beings. My book for you is by Tim Ferriss. I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss. What a genius. And that book is called Tools of Titans. Not Titans are tools, but Tools of Titans. Excellent book. A whole range of brilliant ideas. You can't implement all the ideas, but if you're looking for an idea as a leader of a team, I think you'll find some excellent ones in that book. My spiritual tip is to find a song that is particularly relevant to your team and make that your team song. And when you look at in fact, all sporting teams have a team song. Now, what is it about a song? Well, a song unleashes spirituality. My favorite definition of music is that music is the language of the soul. So if a team has a song, I'm just thinking of if we were in a dental practice, every morning you come in for the huddle and you sing the song, like a bridge over trouble. Maybe not that song, but football teams, cricket teams, men and women, they sing a song after they've won. Interestingly, they don't sing the song when they've lost. Perhaps they should be singing the song before the start of the game, which they sort of do. They go out on the ground and they rev each other up. My health tip one of the ways to get closer to your colleagues is to ask them about what health tips they have found to be useful. There are so many ways to get healthier, and your openness to go to ask your teammates, what do you do, particularly the healthy ones, not the unhealthy ones, what do you do to be in such great health? Ask them. They might surprise you with a magnificent insight about you that is useful for you. My quote, as I'm about to have another sip of coffee, is from Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has been making a lot of noise over a 5-day program that he's announced with Dean Graziosi. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. I didn't have time to do the program. I've done many programs with Robbins. I recommend Tony Robbins programs. But there's a beautiful quote here at tough times that you might be going through. Life is always happening for us, not to us. It's our job to find out where the benefit is. If we do, life is magnificent. Life is happening for us. Find out where the benefit is of any difficult time, because there is a benefit. Life is happening for you. And then a spot of humour. And I did some sporting humour last week, but then I was thinking, we need a family joke, you see, because you could have a team in your family. And so this little story tickled my fancy, because I'm one of 6 kids. And it goes like this. A lady with 9 children boarded a bus and began the complicated business of paying the fares. The driver couldn't help but be surprised, for the children seemed to be in 3 groups of 3 very similar youngsters. "Pardon me, ma'am," he said, unable to repress his curiosity. "Are these children 3 sets of identical triplets?" "Yes, they are." "And are they all yours?" "Yes, they are." Just imagine having that 3 sets of triplets, 9 kids, what a team. And the driver was astonished. "Do you have triplets every single time, ma'am?" "Oh, no," said the lady. "Almost every time I have nothing at all." Love it, love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So imagine 3 sets of triplets. So, take the steps to use today's big idea on how to unleash the spirituality in any team that you're a part of to achieve great outcomes. And by doing so, I think it'll make a big difference in your life, whether you're a team leader or whether you're just part of the team. Because I believe that your life is meant to be all that you're capable of making it. My aim for this show is to provoke you, to inspire you, to motivate you to get a deeper and deeper awareness of what your life is about. I invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the podcast. I invite you to visit charlescovest.com, our website that explores more deeply the self-awareness and passion quest, and visit covest.com for details of our corporate programs, solutions to whatever you want to achieve in business and in your life. So there are details of individual programs at that website as well. You can access my first 2 books, Passionate People Produce and Passionate Performance, at both of those websites. Or you can send me an email and we'll be happy to send one of the books to you, a very special price. Now, let's review some key happenings during the past week. Well, I'm delighted to say that Julie and I have fully recovered from our flu, from the 2 weeks off that we had, and we're both in great shape. We followed the protocol, followed the necessary vitamins and minerals, and I recommend you do the same for yourself. And we rested. That was the crucial element. We said, we're unwell, rest. During the week, I continued to moderate 2 major meetings of 2.5 hours each, global meetings of doctors, of scientists, of data analysts, of lawyers, legal strategists like me. And there were 2 big issues that came out of those lengthy but insightful meetings. The first is that government databases of certain events happening to people are notoriously inaccurate and are manipulated. The second big idea is that the desire for control of people and the desire for the WHO to take sovereignty away from Australia, to take sovereignty away from your country, is palpable. I urge you to be aware of the value of your country maintaining its sovereignty and not giving it away to unelected bureaucrats. Had a meeting of the Executive Committee during the week of the Australian Industrial Hemp Alliance. Hemp is a way to preserve human freedoms, and I also had a meeting of the Federation of International Hemp Organisations. I'm on the board of that, and it's a hard night when that meeting finishes at 12:30 in the morning, and then I have to get up at 4:30 to moderate one of these meetings. And I also moderate meetings of pilots who are suffering for obvious reasons, whose health is being attacked. And then through our phone meeting, if you want an invitation to our phone meetings on Friday nights at 7 p.m, Zoom meeting, which give you vitamins for the mind and the soul, send us a note and we'll happily add you to the invitation list. And in the meantime, of course, the exercise regime continues. Now that I'm fully recovered, the exercise regime continues. I urge you to keep doing your exercise, to keep nurturing this magnificent machine that the universe, that God, whatever you believe in, has given to you. So, if you're new to the show, stick around now, because I'll go through the foundational principles of the show and more details of my background. Regular viewers and listeners already know that. Again, thanks for watching or listening. And until our next show, may your life be full of health-giving and energy-generating passion, learning, fun, challenges, and ever-increasing self-awareness. Have a great week. Thanks for being here. See you next week. Bye. And now, for viewers and listeners who want to know more about my background and what else I do with my life, as well as the foundational principles of the show, here we are. Since 1993, when I left my legal career, a career that I love, to become Australasia's passion provocateur, I have inspired and provoked and educated and motivated people all over the world to discover and pursue their passion. I have helped people via the books that I've written, via speeches at conferences, via in-depth team building programs, workshops over 1, 2 or 3 days, or over 3 months, 6 months. And I've coached people of all ages, one-on-one, from small, medium and large enterprises, government enterprises, helping them to identify the often tiny changes that can make a massive difference. One of my core principles is that freedom is what makes us truly human. That's why one of the greatest threats that government imposes on you to force you to observe its laws is the threat of imprisonment, the loss of your freedom. Just think about that. Government says if you don't behave yourself, we're going to put you in jail. No, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to lose my freedom. That's a reminder to you of why freedom is so important. Without freedom, you and I are not much different to animals. If you were locked up in a cage for the rest of your life, how different would you be to an animal? This commitment to fighting for freedoms for all people is carried out by me primarily through 5 channels. Number 1, preserving the freedom to pursue your passion. Number 2, inspiring you to be able to be free through excellent health. Number 3, helping preserve freedom throughout the world through the expansion of industrial hemp, a magnificent agricultural crop, an almost miraculous crop that enables every community to thrive independently of government. In this way, the power of government to take away freedom is minimized. Number 4, fighting for freedom through legal strategies. So I do work as a legal strategy consultant, as an interface between clients and their lawyers. And number 5, as chairman of the Australian Institute of Comedy and as a board member of the Australian Cartoon Museum, fighting for the freedom of thought and speech through uncensored comedy and humour, through avoiding political correctness in the comedic space. When you block freedom of speech, freedom of thought, that's the beginning of the end of your freedoms. The foundational principles for the Charles Kovess Show are founded on the formula SA plus P equals S. Your self-awareness added to your passion will guarantee that you are successful. And the best definition of success I have found in life is that success is the progressive realization of your worthy ideals. The progressive realization of your worthy ideals. This show is also guided by Socrates' famous principle and quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." You can see I'm wearing my red jacket. I wear my red jacket for all my shows. Red is the colour of passion, so that when you see me on the YouTube version, it reminds you that when you see red in your life, you ask yourself the question, am I pursuing my passion? What am I passionate about? Am I still passionate about that? What might I newly be passionate about? Each week I explore one big idea that can change your life. And it's just one big idea because there's a chance you will remember it. If I give you too many ideas, then we get confused and we don't do anything. Clarity leads to power. Confusion kills passion. Each week I share simple and practical resources that you've heard me describe in the earlier part of the show. A spiritual tip, a health tip, lyrics of a song, a book, a quote, and of course humour. This show is not politically correct. I have no intention of being politically correct. And I love certain addictions, including my addiction to great coffee, my addiction to exercise, my addiction to reading, and my addiction to certain other unmentionable in public type behaviours. Who would know what they are? This show definitely subscribes to the view that we have a spiritual life. So if you don't like discussion of spirituality, this show is not for you. I promise you that I don't include anything in this show that I don't consider to be true and that I have not found to be useful in the work that I've done over the past 28 years, but also over the past 50 years in business, as a lawyer, as a consultant advisor. I only want to share stuff with you that is of value to you. Finally, if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to contact me at charles@kovess.com. Again, thanks for watching and listening to my show. Bye.